If there is one God, why are there so many religions? But God says that the problem of diversity of revelations, God says that's not really a problem at all.
One revelation is a blessing. Many revelations is a problem. The divine reality, let's call it, because not every face of God is the personal face. There are impersonal aspects to the divine reality that comes through in God and autobiography. And many religions who we think of as theistic acknowledge that aspect, that there's a kind of transpersonal aspect to divinity. And ones we think of as not having a personal aspect actually do have a role. For gods or something very much like gods, bodhisattvas in the Buddhist tradition, for example. God says to me repeatedly, think less either or and more both and. People know you in different venues. You know, you're an amateur boxer, for example. Well, those people see a different aspect of Scott Langdon than someone who sees you in a kind of comedy on stage, or than your neighbors and your best friend with whom you do who knows what, and your musical side, a different Scott Langdon. But they're all you. They're all you. And somebody would have to be pretty limited in their horizons if they couldn't accept, oh, you mean there's more than one Scott Langdon? Scott Langdon has multiple aspects or is different in this situation than in that situation, and yet it's the same Scott Langdon. Well, that we all know in ordinary life, that is not a puzzlement at all. That's one of the most basic facts of being a person, is you have many aspects, and the different venues call out different aspects. In fact, different aspects are needed for different venues. The aspect of Scott you tap on stage has got to be different from the aspect you're tapping when you're just walking with your dog. So anyway, that's true of God. And we can learn about the cultures and how God came to the cultures and the religions and what aspects of the divine God showed through those religions, and issue all the way back to ancient times. Herodotus discusses it as he writes about, the neighboring kingdoms and the gods they believe in. He thinks they're all calling Zeus by a different name. That's his way of taking that phenomenon in. But in our day, with a shrinking globe, internet, I just find myself sometimes to my own surprise, I'm talking to somebody in Singapore or something, interacting with them online. And especially in America, a nation of immigrants, the different religions are practiced by our co-workers. Their worship places are all gathered in the same town and blocks within blocks of one another. And this is a question for our age, and that's one reason I have often felt God in autobiography is a revelation for our times, and would have been much less relevant, much harder to grasp, even not to understand what the questions are, wouldn't have quite been present 50 or especially 100 years ago. But here they are now, and here we are now.